One is repeating ideas or creating motifs. And what that does is the listener starts to become familiar with it, and then you can tweak it. It also sounds more lyrical, more melodic when you repeat an idea. And it could be something super simple, like if I got this blues thing going here, and I'm just right in my open E pentatonic, you know? Two notes, repeating. See that? I mean, nothing fancy there at all, but a repeating idea, as opposed to just always trying to go up and down your scale really fast, or even trying to play fast at all. Maybe repeat it. And then maybe tweak it. Okay, if I go up into this position, and I tried to do it in the little intro there, you know, I worked on a little repeating idea in the E major pentatonic. So right off the bat, I think even if you're a super beginner, try and create melodies or repeating ideas. Even limit the amount of notes. Like if you only know that pentatonic scale, maybe just take 3 notes of it. You know, limiting what you got and trying to create ideas off of it is always going to be better than just trying to play as fast as you can or going through a scale up and down. All right? Another thing, and this will be as you move along as a player, and this is something that I have problems with, and I need to work on this myself, and that's the open space, leaving rests. It really creates an energy. It's dynamic, you know. You know what I mean? That open space. You gotta have the open space as an option. And a couple of great guitar teachers I had said the same thing, and Tony Bruco has got a lesson on it as well, and I've talked about it, and that's singing the notes that you're playing. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean being like George Benson. Yeah. You know, you don't not literally like singing it into a microphone to match every note, although that is really cool as well. One of my favorite bass players, O'Teal Burbage, who's been in a ton of bands with like Allman Brothers, Derek Trucks. He's got a whole sing and solo thing at the same time, and it's really cool. You should check him out. But singing the notes connects with that inner music inside of you, so that right off the bat is a really good thing. Might actually make your singing a little better. Didn't necessarily for me, but singing the notes also, here's another thing that's really amazing about it. And for instance, like think about a trumpet player or harmonica or, you know, saxophone, woodwinds. They have to inhale to create the sound, whereas a guitar player can just be like, with, you know, without even thinking about eating a sandwich at the same time, whatever, right? But a wind player's got to go, and it feels more lyrical, more like a singer. And so when you sing the notes, even as a guitar player, you're forced to take breaths, which will kind of make the guitar be more similar to a singer singing, because you're having to take little breaths that are going to stop the music from playing. So that's another thing to work on. So singing the notes will really help. And like I said, even if you're an absolute beginner, I think it will help incredibly. Okay, another thing, dynamics. That's how loud and how soft you play. So another thing to think about, like if you're doing a blues solo, is try and create a beginning, a middle, and an end to your solo. Now, I don't always get to do that, and it is actually exciting to improvise that beginning, middle, and end with your band and the other musicians you're playing with and listening to each other. So that's actually a really exciting thing about playing with another guitar player or even other musicians, is they're helping create that bed for you to tell your little story over. So that'll play a part of it. A band like Fish and Trey Anastasio, that guitar player, I mean, they're amazing at improvising together and creating tension and intensity and building that jam up. And they're all doing it together. But the dynamics, in the beginning of your solo, it's nice to not, blow your whole wad there right in the beginning. Start sparse. Or, the next solo that you do, start, with a real high bend note. And then let's say the next song, you might want to start with a real fast thing low, to mix up what you can do. But the amount of how hard and how soft you play, you can toy with that through a blues solo, and that's another thing, another tip, to think about, is that intensity that you're playing with. And most guys are going to, you kind of start soft. And as it builds up and the band's building up, go into your face melter as you build it up, and that'll always go over really well. Is to ramp your solo up, and know when to get out. That's another tip. Is don't solo for too long. Really be conscious. And I was worse at this when I was younger in college, but be conscious of when you feel like it's a good time to get out, because less is more. Think about this. When you play all your licks, we all, every guitar player only has so many licks and tricks to do. So if you blow them all out, but then you just want to keep going with the same ideas and the same ideas, it's actually more boring than to leave that listener wanting a little more, oh my God, I just wanted him to keep going forever. You cut it back. You're going to get a chance to solo again, if you're a guitar player especially. So know when to get out of the solo. I'd say less is always more when it comes to that.